Hey guys, so today I'm going to be painting the interior trim of my 2014 Ford Fusion, specifically around the dash area. Now if you've been subscribed to the channel for a bit, you know that some pieces are already painted, but I no longer have that specific paint that I used. So instead of risking mismatching colors of white on the trim, I'm going to strip down the pieces that are already painted and paint all the trim pieces together so they can all be a uniform single color of white. So everything that's already painted, I'm going to repaint. Only because last time it was a rush job and I know I can do a lot better. And this has been on the list for a while and I can finally get around to it. But I'm also going to probably paint this trim ring around the shifter and the trim around the gauge cluster. Now it's a pretty straightforward job. All I need to do is remove the pieces, prep the pieces, paint them, and reinstall them. And you can do this on any vehicle. The only difference would be the process of removing the pieces, but unless it's a different material or something, you should be able to do it just like this. Now we'll start off with this piece. This one doesn't actually have any screws. It's just a bunch of clips. So you just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, and eventually you'll be able to pry it off. And it might help to open the glove box just because you get a little bit more reach. And there you go. Now for the center section, it definitely helps if you have a pry tool, specifically a plastic one. But if you don't, you can definitely use a small flathead screwdriver. The basic concept is you want something that can get underneath the piece and pop it up. And so for this panel, I like to start down here. And then now that there's a gap right here, I can stick the screwdriver in and lift. Just like that. And same thing, just getting it down under here. Just like that. And then from here, there's these two contact points between this lower portion of the trim and the upper portion. You want to take out the lower first. And again, still no screws, it's all just clips. And so for this one, you have 3 clips. 1, 2, 3. So these are the areas you want to try to get underneath and push from. Now we move up to here. So here you can see all the clips. Go ahead and pause if you want to make sure you're getting the right areas. And I will say these are pretty directional, but these down here are probably a little trickier. Okay guys, it probably went in a little deeper than I was planning. But the main thing I want to show you is I got the shifter bezel off. Now I didn't find anything online about how to do it. So let me do you guys a solid and show you how. So realistically, all you need to be able to do is have this white piece around the shifter exposed. If you can see, there's these little ridges along this. Those ridges hold on to these tabs right here. You just pry this back. And you just do that on every single tab. You have 2 on the left side, 1 right here, 1 right there, 1 on the bottom, 2 on the right side, and 1 on top. You can see them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yes, it's very dirty. I'm realizing the previous owner was not the cleanest person. I'm also going to take the trim off around the dash. And so the first thing you're going to do is going to bring your steering wheel column as low as it goes. And then grab on this panel right here and pry it out. There's a clip right here and a clip over here. You're going to come to this side, do the same thing. And it'll come down and hang. And then for this piece right here, you have 2 7mm bolts. They're a little tight. Got 1, and the second one. There we go. And 2. And then you can pry this panel out. And just let it hang like that. And that's going to give you access to another bolt right here. And from this point, you can adjust the steering wheel a little bit just to get better access to the bolts. Oh yeah. Yeah, that one's really tight. That makes it 3. Then you have 1 more on this side. That one's really tight too. That's number 4. So 4 7mm bolts. And it should come out pretty easy. Just like that. And there's this little piece of plastic and fabric that connects next column to the dash. The bottom section is on top, so you have to pull the bottom section up and the top section down. Just like that. From there you can slide it on out. Now that we have the majority of the dash off, we can take off this piece right here. You can actually see there's this little bracket that the tabs are on. And since this is exposed, you can actually just pop the bottom ones out. And now that we have the bottom out, you get your small flathead. Now we'll admit, this is usually the one that I have the most problems with. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Awesome. And you can see here, there's these little tabs that just fold over. You just lift those up. And there you go, 2 separate pieces. So I think that's all of the dash that I'm gonna mess with. And honestly, it probably looks worse than it actually is. So for these pieces that are already painted, I'm gonna go over them with some paint thinner, get them back to their normal color, and then sand everything down, and then get a few coats of paint on there. All right guys, we got everything sanded now. Just finished taping up the inside of this housing. Once I get the last of it taped up, I can spread out some newspaper and finally get to painting. Alright guys, just finished priming the majority of the parts, and I think they came out pretty good. Here's the first piece, second piece, third piece, and that's it. Pretty happy with the coverage. And I forgot to show you guys what I'm working with. This is Rust-Oleum American Accents. And then we have this for the white. So I'll spray it on and give you guys an update. Okay guys, I'm done with the white, and I think it looks pretty cool. I'm pretty happy with how it came out, pretty even coverage all around. And now just some clear and should be good to go. But some words of advice when you're doing this, you want to start off with a lot of light coats, because if you're doing heavy coat over heavy coat, then it's going to be more likely to drip. And then on top of that, make sure to hit it at various different angles, because there are areas that can get underspray or overspray very easily. So keep moving and keep the can moving and it should come out okay. Alright guys, so I have the side panels for the center console out as well. So I decided to paint those. I like the idea of the white interior, especially on a white car. Another side note, you want to take the tape off of the pieces before they dry. Reason for that being, if they are still dry, whenever you peel off the tape, it can peel off more portions of the paint than you want. Whereas whenever it's wet, you'll have the benefit of some clean lines when you pull the tape. But we're done for day one. Gonna let it dry overnight and probably a good chunk of tomorrow. And I'll show you how the pieces look completely dry. And from there, we get to install everything back. Alright guys, everything is dry, and realistically it only takes about, I'd say like an hour and a half to take everything out, depending on your comfort with taking off panels and your familiarity with it. But from there, it all depends on the paint that you get and the dry time. Speaking of paint, let me show you all the pieces. So you have the shifter bezel right here, center console, AC vents, and so on. And then these side panels right here. Also, take this as the opportunity to clean the inside of your dash because it gets dirty so easily. So all that's left to do is install the pieces, and from there, I'll show you the rest. Alright guys, the interior is all buttoned up and it is looking awesome. You can see all the pieces are done here, and honestly the focal point I would say is the side panels of the center console, which again was somewhat impulsive, but also shout out to my sister Nina for suggesting that I do it. Oh, the white definitely stands out. And here it is on this side. Again, looking really cool. Now I'm definitely in the market for some new seats and new door panels, just to change the tone of the car. If I can get some new seats and door panels, I can probably paint these pieces myself. But again, I'm loving how it's looking. I think it looks really sleek. But that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to keep up to date on the Fusion content. I should have a Corvette video up pretty soon that I don't think you guys are gonna want to miss. So again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.